Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Friday Connect. We are here every single week, Fridays, training for real estate agents, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Tamila Rajasingham. I'm based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I co-host this event, this training with Jacob Sharman, based in Houston, Texas. We are real estate agents, global team leaders. We're also real estate marketers. We actually co-founded a real estate marketing agency called Mift Marketing, Mift Media, and Kuruvi.social, which is a social media content platform that provides daily content, daily strategy for real estate agents. So this is a free training. This is what it's like to kind of be part of our group. As a sneak peek. We're really about business growth, lead generation, social media training, marketing, name it. We talk about it here. So if you want to join us on our Facebook group and kind of give us feedback as to what kind of training you want us to see, if you missed anything, there's the place to catch it. And we post different polls in there. So make sure you tune in there. We're going to leave it in the description below. Our website is fridayconnect.net, and this is where you can find all our recording from past events on our YouTube channel as well. So make sure you connect with us. If you're looking to work with us, partner with us, and have any questions about what it's like to be in our group, make sure you visit the link in the description below and book a private one-on-one call with us. And so today's a great topic. This is one of those commonly asked topics. We're going to talk a lot about strategies on scaling your real estate business with virtual assistants. And today, especially, we have an awesome guest for us, Director of Sales from Sphere Rocket, Moose Reed, with us. We're going to have a conversation about what it's like to, how to work with VAs, what are VAs, what's the best way to get the best work out of them, and how much is it, what kind of jobs, everything you need to know about scaling your business, growing your business using virtual assistants. So thank you, Moose, for joining us, being here. We're excited to kind of dive into this awesome topic.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. Stoked to be here. Stoked that we have a relationship, guys. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And first off, let's start off with a little introduction. If you can give everybody an introduction about you, Moose, how did you get into this space? And maybe a little bit about the company that you work for, Sphere Rocket.
Yeah, so my background's a little bit unique, guys. I've been in sales for the last 14 years. I've been in sales in every industry imaginable, from selling Cutco knives door to door, where I was the top sales rep in 2012, to selling timeshare, which everyone knows if you can make it in timeshare, you can make it anywhere, right? To working on Wall Street. I was a wholesaler for BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager. And then the last 5 years, I've been building out and scaling sales teams. Justin Nelson, our CEO, came to me about 3 years ago when he was an operator on his own. He didn't have a sales team under him, and he said, "Hey, I'm getting swamped by calls. I have too much demand for this product. Can you please build me out a sales team?" I did that. We brought 4 guys onto his team 3 years ago, brought the company from about 30 grand a month in top line revenue to today we're doing about 500 a month. But the difference was now he had a team to outsource it to. Well, come last November, Justin said, "Man, I am exhausted on these managing these salespeople. Can you now come in house to oversee the salespeople that you built out originally?" So I've been full time with Sphere Rocket since November of 2022. I've been working with Justin for the last 3 years, since the beginning of the project. Over the last 3 years, we've onboarded roughly 4,500 virtual assistants across close to 2,000 different clients. We hire for any position imaginable, most common executive assistants, social media managers, ISAs, and cold callers, all the way as far wide as last month. I found a virtual assistant who had a background in electrical engineering for our clients. So we do anything that you could possibly put together, and I love what we do. It's a really fun project to be working on, guys.
Awesome. Honestly, Sphere Rocket, out of many companies that I worked with, it really is an industry disruptor. I love everything about your company. I love the way, even just the behind the scenes of the people, because I've met many of you in person, to your culture, your ideology, where it all started from. I love it. I love where it's going, and I'm excited to be part of it. And Jacob and I, both our company together, we're happy to be leveraging Sphere Rocket. So thank you for being here. I want this to be super jam-packed and super useful for for the real estate agents watching this. We have everybody from brand new agents watching this to people in their mid-career level to people who are experienced. And the funny thing is, there are people that are starting off, they need to know this information because you could be far ahead of some of the top agents in the world if you started to leverage your time better. So let's talk a little bit about, because a lot of people have they have an understanding, I guess maybe a misconception when it comes to personal assistance or having somebody like a co-op student or somebody sitting with you physically. So what is a VA? And let's talk a little bit about how that's different from having somebody kind of with you locally in your market.
Yeah, so the way I would define a VA is exactly how you just said, Thermila. So first of all, it's somebody who works internationally. Internationally, they work remotely. They do all the admin work that you need to do on a computer, right? But these roles can range from ISAs and salespeople to strictly admin roles, to social media managers. The tasks that they need, people always say, they have this strange task and I don't know if a virtual assistant can fulfill it, right? When in reality, I tell clients all the time, if you looked at the way that you did the task yourself, if you took a quick Loom video of you watching yourself do the task, typically you can teach it to somebody else, right? As long as there's a process in place for how you're doing the task, you can teach it to somebody else, right? Because we are hiring internationally, personally at Sphere Rocket, all of our virtual assistants are based in the Philippines. What's really cool about that is the minimum wage in the Philippines is roughly $2.50 a day, not an hour, but a day. So when you start paying these people $4, $5 an hour, you're finding the top end of the market. People in the US that you would pay $50,000, $60,000 a year to be doing admin work for you, you're paying a fifth of the price, a sixth of the price, right? And you're able to get high-end quality talent, people who are college educated, people who have experience in the tasks that you're asking them to do, people who we've recruited from corporate Philippines, right, to come and work for you for a sixth of the price, which is pretty cool. Maybe
Yeah,
my math
and
is a little bit off there.
that's amazing. This is exactly the type of information people
Exactly.
need to know, is that where are you getting them and how are, in terms of pricing. But what's so unique about VA is the fact that they can work with you virtually, but they can tap into any tools that you're already working on. And you could find the
Yes.
right, and what I love about your company specifically is that you find the right people that know these tools already. So when I'm not finding somebody, having to retrain them again. So there's just a lot of strategies that go into finding the right partner for you and the team member. And a lot of time I find real estate agents, when I ask them about, maybe you need a system with this. I feel like you might, you looked into getting somebody to grow your team and to grow your business with. And the first thing people say is, no, I could do it myself. It's so much easier than me having to teach it to people. And it's that mindset of they're not looking at their business in a more long-term perspective, and they're not really visioning their business growing. And the first thing is the way they look at time. And I find that real estate agents don't have a real understanding of why a VA is important for their business. Can you kind of break down to us, and maybe from some of the clients that are coming to you with issues, what makes VA an integral part of their business and why they need to hire one right now?
Yeah, I think that you said something that's so important there, Miller, right? We get this all the time from clients where they say, I need more help. My bandwidth is tapped. I'm working 12 hours a day. I'm working 15 hours a day. I don't want to hire anybody because I could do the work myself, right? Well, imagine if Jeff Bezos were to say, or Jeff Bezos, excuse me, were to say, man, I can deliver packages better than anybody else in the world. I'm just going to deliver all the packages myself, right? Amazon
Great
would have
example.
never gotten to a
Right.
$1 trillion market cap, right? These things that you can do, these mundane tasks, you should be outsourcing them. If you believe as a client or as a business owner that your time is worth more than $4 an hour, take those tasks and get them off your plate so that you as the CEO can go work on higher leveraged activities, right? Be a CEO, not someone who's just filling out reporting or whatever it is that you hate. If you love reporting, cool, work on the reporting, but don't work on the sales. If you love the sales, awesome, work on the reporting, work on the operation side of it.
So true.
So
I
true.
read a book
I read a book.
recently. Oh, sorry. Recently, I read a book that talks about this whole concept of, if you keep working the way you've always done, the more of the same, you're just going to get more of the same type of results. So if you're looking to truly grow, then you have to have a different way of thinking, a different way of a pattern and action. And I think people were so close to the fire, it feels comfortable to continue doing what we're doing, thinking that, well, I have all the right control. I'm going to start producing more results because I'm getting better at it, easier to do. Why hire somebody else? They have a completely different concept or understanding what it means to grow and particularly scale. And you are your own, and I truly believe this, you are your own issue when you think like that. And your business will never grow, and you're always going to be plateaued. It doesn't matter how good you are and the type of skill set you have as a business owner. So I love that you touched on that. I'm going to actually
I'd
pass
love
it
to.
on. Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
I'd love to do this exercise, and with anyone that's listening, please feel free to do this exercise along with us, right? Tharmila and Jacob, I'd love to do it with you guys if that's okay, right? Just because I think it's such a good example. What are your personal income goals over the next 5 years? If you had to look 5 years out, what if you could pick any number in the world, what would your income be? 5 years out.
You want me to go? Yeah, absolutely. In 5 year time from now, I want to make maybe 5 mils a
Yeah,
year.
yep. Typically, guys,
Yeah.
when I ask that question, and guys, anyone who's listening, please do the practice with us, right? Typically, when I ask that question, people will say 5 million, $10 million over the next 5 years, right? Perfect, great number. Now, here's my question: if you're making $250,000 a year right now, if you're making $500,000 a year right now, right? Here's my question to you: if you're at 250, are you able to quadruple the amount of hours that you're currently working to get your income to $1 million a year? Most likely not. Most likely
Easy
not. If
number.
I had to
Yeah, easy math.
quadruple, there's no way that my wife would allow me to quadruple the amount of hours that I work. Right?
No, I don't think your body will let you do that.
No, you're right. So you only have two options. You can either quadruple your output in this situation, right? Or you can outsource it to somebody else and scale your team, right? Those are the only two options that you have. If you are stuck doing it yourself, there's no way that you're going to hit those unless you can do it all yourself.
Yeah, and my favorite part about having a company like yours do that kind of work is you have all the control because we hire with you. And I know you're going to talk a little bit about what that process looked like. And what I love is that we really do have all the control when it comes to that. And if somebody isn't working, and that's some people's biggest fears, like, oh, I have to hire again. What if this person isn't good? I do all this work. Then that's great. What if you find the right person who takes all this work out of you? Where could your business go? For me, I always talk about it is I love the analogy you gave and kind of the thought process. What if you do a time study? Maybe you don't every time, and I say this, I said this on the stage when I was at EXP, even with CRM systems process, one and the same. A lot of time people say, oh, well, I don't need to use this, or I don't need this. The first thing I tell people is that, or I have difficulty understanding this. And my first response is, I don't think you know your business enough. And that's why you're not hiring VAs, is because I don't think you know your business enough. And if you did, you realize how much somebody else can do that for you. And so anyways, a good time to hand it over to Jacob because he has some really cool, good information for you about how to bring all of this to life.
And another thing I want to add too, I think one of the best business advice that I ever got, because I was this person and I still struggle with it, is that we have this employee mindset, all of us, and we're used to our job being a specialist. So we try to learn and do everything. And this is really bad, especially in the real estate industry, not just small business owners, but you'll see them wanting to do everything. The only way to become a true business owner and not self-employed is to become a generalist, where you're literally doing it. Henry Ford was the perfect example, because he even got dragged into court and was told, what do you know about engineering? He said, I don't know anything. That's why I hired him. That's the best way, is to do what you're good at and outsource the rest. So that way you can truly make some momentum. And even just recently, hiring you guys, we love this process, and we'll talk more about that. But the process of hiring, we were so skeptical. I literally was rolling my eyes during the presentation. And the only reason I squeezed the trigger was because Justin was at a realtor training, and he made a comment that I really liked. Was he said the way he did this business, he strapped a GoPro to his chest for 2 weeks and only took it off to bathe, and watched every piece of that footage and realized, oh yeah, I was supposed to spend 15 minutes on social media, but I spent an hour because I got caught up in America's Got Talent and crying and on all the videos. And I was laughing And I started doing, when I got back, I looked at what I was doing. I was like, oh crap, I really do need to outsource this. So we scheduled, and then your guys' process is so completely different than other VA companies we worked with. Even Tharmila's like, yeah, they all do that. And then when we got into it, we're like, holy crap, these people have systems in place for one. You guys are not even really a VA company. You guys are headhunters. That's every company we've ever worked with, which we got rid of them after a week, is literally, it's just a call center of who can take on the random task. You guys, like when you brought to my interview 10 people, I was thoroughly shocked because I thought it was going to be 10 random. It was so hard to decide. I was like fretting over it. It's just crazy. So why don't we dive into
Thank you so much for telling me that, by the way. That's the stuff that makes my job like, oh, that's lights out. I love that.
I've become like a cheerleader because we were talking for a minute and Tharmil was like, I know they're good. They're good. We get it. Because it was just, you guys, even just starting out, trying it out, making sure the quality has been great. And I think what people have a misconception of VAs too, is that they expect them to know exactly what you want in the moment. And I had this with even the video editor we hired just to test them out. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. But then I was like, hey, this is the video I like. This is the style. Man, now I hardly correct him. He's like spitting out videos like this, and they're really good. And then, you know, we always look through them and say, what can we improve? So can you talk about what the process is to getting started, kind of cost-wise and stuff, and then what the process is to actually choosing your VA? Because I think that's super important, especially all of the courses that you guys have for VAs. It's not just hiring a VA. You guys literally have everything start to finish.
You mind if I reverse it and say the process of hiring and then the process of costing? So guys, to be frank, for anyone who's listening, a lot of times prospects come to me and they say, man, I think that I could do this myself. I think I could recruit a VA on my own. And it's funny, I welcome people to try it on their own first. In fact, I'll give you the resources to do it. You can go to websites like Fiverr, go to Upwork, go to recruitmentjobs.ph, and you can find a ton of applicants on there to find virtual assistants for free on your own. What you're going to find is that there's a lot more to the process besides just the recruitment, right? So what makes us different than other virtual assistant companies out there is exactly what you mentioned, Jacob. The way the model is built in other virtual assistant companies, I'm not trying to speak bad, but the way the process is built is they have the virtual assistants working in what's called a BPO, a business producing office. A couple things to consider. In a BPO, the average income is going to be about $2.50 an hour, $3 an hour. Okay. But you, as the consumer, do not have control over which virtual assistant you get partnered with, right? So because you don't have control, if they're working across 5 different accounts, you don't know if they have a skill set in the background that you need. You don't know. They just say, congratulations, meet your virtual assistant. Everybody have a great day, right? With us, we're completely different, right? We do go out and headhunt. We look for people. We run ads targeting these BPOs. We are looking for applicants with a background in the role that you are looking for, right? We're doing about 10,000 interviews a month right now, which gives us a very large candidate pool to choose from. So when we send you over 4 or 5, in your case, Jacob, 10 candidates on the final interview, these people have made it through a 3-tier interview process. The first, we do a resume scrape to make sure that they do have the background that you're looking for. The second, we do a personality test to make sure if it's a sales role, an ISA role, they're going to have a high D, high I personality type. If it's an operations role, we want them to have a high S, high C personality type, right? And then we test their internet from a remote location so that we can pull them away from corporate Philippines and say, hey, guys, we have a client who wants to hire you. On average, they pay $4 an hour. You get wage increase. And now guess what? You don't have to travel 3 hours a day commute time because you're in the most heavily populated city in the world. So they love working for you guys as well, which is amazing. But then on that 4th interview, we want to still give you a volume of candidates to choose from. This way, it's at the end of the day, it's still your decision. You now have control over that virtual assistant. So as far as pricing, the way the pricing works, guys, we have a pretty unique structure. Again, to understand our model, you have to understand the traditional model. And I know that we've talked with Jacob and Tharmila about this, but traditionally what happens in the virtual assistant arena is you would hire a VA. you would hire a VA company for anywhere from $1,700 to $2,000 per month per virtual assistant, right? And that range is based off of the role that you're hiring for, and it's based off of the amount of hours that they work, right? With us, we charge a flat fee to come and work with us. Okay, it's $1,000 per month. With this model, we've gone in and undercut the traditional model. And the way that we've done that is we have an additional fee on top of the $1,000 called growth share. Growth share is $99 per month per virtual assistant, but our fees cap it too. Meaning that if you have 2 VAs or 100 VAs, the most that you can ever spend with SphereRocket is $1,200 a month. This growth share allows us to go in and undercut the traditional model, which is really unscalable if you're paying per virtual assistant, right? You pay the virtual assistant separately. So on average, our clients pay VAs on average $4 an hour, right? Yes, that is a fee that you pay in addition to SphereRocket's fee. But what you'll find with this model is that at your second hire, we typically work at about a 30% discount from our competitors. On our third hire, we're typically anywhere from a 40 to 50% discount. And the more that you hire, we get cheaper and cheaper because our prices don't grow incrementally. Does that make sense?
Right.
Now, what's really cool about this, and for anyone that's listening, please keep this in mind. We are the only virtual assistant company that does this that I'm aware of. Recently, what we started doing was we offered a free trial. If you've ever considered hiring a virtual assistant and you're not sure, hey, I don't know if this is going to work out for me, no problem. We say, let us go out and headhunt position for you, right? We'll bring you back a candidate in 15 days. You onboard them to your business. You have them for 30 days. If you love it on day 46, great. Send me a thank you note. I'll be thrilled to have you and I'll invoice you for the first $1,100. But if it's not for you, no problem. At least we swung the bat. At least we tried, and we can get the ball rolling together. And you can cancel for no questions asked.
No, and I'm glad you brought this up because I literally had somebody on our team that told me, hey, I decided to take your advice and get a VA, but she never asked where we got it. So she had already done it on her own. And she said, who are you using? And I said, SphereRocket. She goes, you know what I don't like about them, which is the reason I didn't pick you guys in the beginning, is I don't like that they charge you $1,000. And I said, actually, how much are you paying? So she broke down all the stuff because the person was going to make phone calls. I said, you're paying $13 and like 25 cents an hour. If you pay SphereRocket's $1,000 plus the $5 an hour, which is probably what your VA is going to cost, it's like $12 an hour. So it's actually cheaper. And then you can hire as many as you want. That same company, go back and ask them if you hire a second, is it the same price? And it is. So now you're paying $26 an hour when you would really be paying each VA about $9 an hour. So the more you hire, it goes down, and people don't think that, because when we see a big number, our mind just automatically shuts it off. But if you actually break it down per hour, it's actually really cheap. It's still cheaper than hiring a normal person. And the fact is, I know with you guys, I got quality. If I don't like the VA, boom, I just go talk to you. The fact that you guys even have programs to keep them up to date, like there's a video editor course and helping them with English and communication. And two, the biggest thing that I love, which you can expound on, is that most people, I think, give up their VA because they don't know what to do with them. They get bored after the week. They're like, okay, this isn't working. And they don't know what to do. But you guys actually really give a task, like a plan to follow, which is really crazy. And plus all the tools like Wise, all this stuff, you know, Tharmil and I were laughing. We've never used the password sharer. We've always created them a separate account, linked it. And then we used this password share, LastPass. We were like, holy crap, like this, why were we using this before? But it's so much stuff to keep up with, and outsourcing a company that can keep up with it for you. Because you talked about, you challenged anybody to go find a VA, and the people that says, yeah, I'm going to do that, there's the same people that still are becoming a specialist in their business and that will never be a generalist. Instead of letting somebody that has experience in this do it for you while you set back and make your business grow, do what you're good at. Again, they're focusing on nickel and dimes and they're never going to grow their business. So
yeah, it's I love the point that you just brought up, Jacob. What people don't realize is that we are in the human capital business, right? The worst thing that I could do is oversell it to a prospect and say, get started, you're going to love it. I don't care that you have no idea what you're doing. It's okay, get a VA, the VA will figure it out for you, right? That's the worst thing I could do, because then what's going to happen, the client's going to come back to me and say, Moose, this isn't working out, I'm pissed off, right? The VA is going to come back to our recruitment team and say, that didn't work out, I'm pissed off. I would have three parties who are all pissed off at each other, right? So a lot of times clients come to me and they'll say, Moose, I want to get a VA, but I've never managed people before, and I'm afraid to manage people before. No worries. We've hired 3,500 virtual assistants over the last several years, right? Let me help you with that. So what we've done is we have, first of all, SOPs. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Oh yeah, let me enable it. Go ahead. Give me a second. All right, you should be able to now.
Thank you, sir. So we have SOPs built out for nearly every position that you could imagine for. Of course, you know, I mentioned the client came to me last month with the electrical engineer. I didn't have an SOP for the electrical engineer. But let's say you want to get started with an executive assistant, but you're not sure exactly what an executive assistant would look like, right? Well, here's a 30, 60, 90-day ramp-up period of what their first 90 days is going to look like with you. Maybe you're not sure what tasks you want them to do. Here's 50 tasks that they should be working on in a given day. Maybe you're not sure how to structure their schedule. No problem. Here's an hour-by-hour breakdown of how you should structure their schedule if you want somebody full-time. And because we do the 36 recruitments per year, Jacob Thermilla, if you guys want somebody for 20 hours a week, I can help you restructure their schedule for 20 hours a week. If you want somebody 40 hours a week, I can help you reschedule for 40. There might be some things that are more applicable to your business. There might be some things that are less applicable. That's what we work on together, right? And we have these for every role, whether it's an executive assistant, an inside sales agent to do cold calling for you, a social media admin. Guys, I just brought on a social media admin a week and a half ago. I was so inconsistent on my social media, and now I have a process in place which I'll be posting 300 times per month across all social media platforms, because I'm not asking myself to do it anymore. I'm paying somebody else whose job is to do it for $4 an hour.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
it's all about that becoming a generalist. And that's what I wanted people to understand here, because everybody focuses on the dollar amount, but they actually don't focus on how much time they're wasting. I remember when I first got into kind of sales, I was a mortgage agent, life insurance, investment license. And I remember one guy that came in and he's like, if your wife asks you to mow the lawn, tell her hell no. And he said, because that is a $20 an hour job. Figure out how much you're making. If you're making 80, you need to be out there while in your schedule of working, making $80 an hour and not stopping. Now, if you want to do it because you love it, it's stress reliever, it's exercise, that's a different story. But if you're stressed to get that lawn mowed to make your wife or your spouse happy, cut that out. Go spend time with your kids, take your wife out to dinner during that time. And people need to start figuring that out. And Tharmila and I have been going through this after we read that U² book, is that you need to basically figure out what you're good at and let everybody else do the rest. And outsource it. And that's where this comes in, especially for new agents. They're going to quit. 87% of agents fail. New agents fail in the first 5 years. So how can you prevent that? Is by immediately hitting the ground running and getting people to do stuff for you. Like you said, posting 300 times a month versus probably posting 15 times if you do it yourself, if that.
That's right. If 15 a month. I wish I could give myself that much credit. It was like 3 maybe. 3 maybe with a big plan to post a lot more, you know? I'll get to it.
You know, the thing with brand new agents too is that they think it's like a big cycle. It's like the chicken or the egg. They're like, oh, I'll get my first sale or first couple of sales. I'll make the money and then I'll hire. And it's like the wrong way of doing is I'm all about investing in my business so that my business can grow. And then there's a certain amount of money. And and I worked in marketing moves for over a decade. I worked for the government. I worked for different private brands and not-for-profit. And I'll tell you, the budget was varied. And it's so interesting. Sometimes we'll always look at, oh, here's our goal, but here's our budget. And you're trying to find the scope of how to execute this. And a lot of times we're so caught off by, and even our programmers, they would come to us and said, this is the only amount of budget I have. I'm like, but your goal is this big though, but my money doesn't. So I'm sorry, I don't think I can bring you 100,000 people to your event when your dollar amount for your budget is this. you're making X amount of money. I need to put aside X amount of money into marketing so that we're able to continue to grow. And that mindset is a business mindset, and people don't, and a lot of employees don't think like that. And again, that specialist, right? They're so good at programming or bringing on that right artist for their market, but they forget about, okay, how do I get the people to listen to this artist that you just brought on, who's amazing, you know? And so I think this goes with especially if you're a brand new agent or if you're in the cusp of growing your business, this is more important than ever. And if you are far along in your business and if you haven't hired anybody, I bet you've been plateaued for a really long time.
Darmila, that's such a good point. Me and Justin talk so much about that. The first hire is always the hardest hire to make. And the reason why it's the hardest hire to make is because you are telling yourself that you cannot afford to hire somebody yet. You don't have the salary cap. It's a salary cap issue, just like in sports, right? I can't bring on that next A player because I don't have the salary cap to get there, right? When in reality, when you're hiring, you have to realize that this is an investment for you. Okay. When Amazon is hiring somebody in the States, their target ROI from an investment or on a personal investment is at least a 6x. It's a minimum 6x. Okay. I'll go back to the example of ISAs. I have 4 ISAs that we use that are all Filipino based. We pay them $3.15 an hour plus $40 per booked appointment that shows. Guys, we're getting a 14x ROI on our ISA team, right? For you, an agent, to have to go out and do all these cold calls and keep up with your current client list and say, hey, happy birthday, do you have a new lead for me? That's not a good use of your time, right?
Right.
Get an ISA for $3.15 an hour to do it for you, to get you those new appointments, right? But even going back to what Jacob said with the executive assistant, right? If you value your time, if you really value your time, let's keep it on the low side, $50 an hour, and you get an executive assistant. I'll give you 2 examples of mine. This year, she hired a laundry company for me. They come by once a week and they pick up my laundry. I drop it off the door and they bring it back the next day, right? She hired a housekeeper for me and she hired a car cleaner for me, right? Those are 3 things that I would just never get to. And if I did ever get to them, it was such a bad use of my time. I said, you know what, Marie, she's my executive assistant. I would rather you manage this for me. If I don't need it that week, I'll message you and say, hey, take this off my plate, right? But now it's not even a consideration for me. I've gotten those hours back instead of spending 5-10 hours a week worried about the laundry. It's just done.
And
No,
honestly, Moose, I worked in the corporate space where I hired people and I, salaried people, and it's all about the culture and investing in them, making sure that, and especially co-op students, right, interns, it's your responsibility to make sure that, you give them exactly what they're there for, to help them learn as well. It's not about getting your stuff done on your list, but are you going to nurture them? And now that I'm in the entrepreneurial space, it's so different that a VA, again, like to your point, if I go out to Fiverr and hire them one-on-one, now I have to watch out, again, going back to that employee mindset of hiring, thinking about, do I have the right culture? Do I have the right, how am I going to manage this? Making sure they have the right break time. I have your company to do all that stuff for me. I don't have to think about all the human resources side of thing of hiring somebody. Big game changer.
There may be things that someone who's listening to this, guys, and Tharmila, Jacob, you guys are the opposite side of this, right? You guys have been such good leaders since I've known you guys, and you guys have had such a leadership mindset already. But there may be people who are listening to this who are like, man, I've never considered why I'm an agent other than I want to sell houses, right? It's important that when we go out and find these people, we do bring in people with the right culture. It's important to be able to sustain that culture, that you have company values, you have core values, you have a mission statement for why you're doing what you're doing, right? If you don't get those pieces in place and you're not able to lead, it doesn't matter if you get a virtual assistant, it doesn't matter if you get a project-based employee, it doesn't matter if you get somebody domestic, you will not be able to retain anybody. And one of our goals at Sphere Rocket, the reason why we offer 20 hours a week of live training, is not just training for the virtual assistants, but it's training for our clients on how to become better leaders as well, so that they have success maintaining their virtual assistants and they can grow out a team and an org.
I'll give one last tidbit that I love having a virtual assistant for, especially on the video side, is it forces me to get the stuff done to give to them. It kind of tells me, oh crap, I got to make sure he's got a task. So now I always hated to be on video. We always talked about this, and Tharmil was like, no, do more. It's working. It's great. And I know, you need to do it, but it's like, oh, I got to do this task first and this. But by outsourcing that, it's freeing up stuff. And even yesterday, I was like, I'm done early today. Like, what is that? Like, this never happens. And
What do I do when I clock out at 5? What is what
right.
in the world?
Like, oh, I guess I can sit here and watch a show. Like, go in
Jacob
my
and I
pool.
are those moves. Like Jacob is not joking. Him and I used to work till like 1 a.m. at night. Like,
Oh,
no
I
joke.
know.
And especially the beginning stages, sometimes whatever. Like his husband would say like. He's like, okay, Jacob would be like, oh, I gotta go into the room, and then same with me to my husband, to Josh, I'd be like, I gotta talk to Jacob. He's like, oh, okay, you're not coming back. And same thing.
I'd be like 10 minutes tops. He's like, see you in the morning.
2 hours later. Oh gosh, guys,
we're still talking. We're still working. Like we're not even talking about just random things. We're working. And no, honestly, and when we started to think about, I also love having somebody, like having a virtual assistant, is because it allows you to think about what you're telling them. Kind of you talk it out to give it to them, and you realize, wait, this is not an important task, or wait, it could be done better this way, because you realize, because you've done it the same way all this time, again, more of the same, because that's what you were comfortable with. That's all you knew. And now when you have to give it to somebody else, they're like, huh? And then you have to re-explain it to them, and you realize, oh, I guess this is different task.
This doesn't make sense.
And there's actually 3 tasks that come with this task.
You know, guys, something that I would love to tell the audience just real quick is there's so much value in the effort. And please know, like you guys said earlier, how many, what did you say? It was 87% of agents won't make it past their first year. Is that what you said?
First 5 years, they'll quit.
Yeah, 1 to 5 years.
87%, guys, right? And at the end of the day, being an agent, being a salesperson is very similar to the gym, right? The most important aspect of it is consistency, going in, hitting your reps, making your dials, right? Talking to clients. So with video editors in particular, that's a very common hired position for us. People come to me and they say, Moose, I want to hire a video editor so I have more marketing content. I'm not creative enough. I don't know what I should post about. I don't know what I should record. The answer is so simple. Record your day-to-day. Record your day-to-day. If you are making the effort, if you are putting in the reps, just being on calls like these, being on calls with your prospects, record them. We now record every sales call that comes into our org, right? We have a QC virtual assistant who grades our sales calls. She passes the highest scored card to our video editing team. If each call is a half hour, that now gives us 5 or 6 reels per day that's produced to go back out onto social media. There's nothing extra. I'm not coming up with creative stuff about that. It's just the process. There's magic in the effort, guys.
Especially real estate agents. It's so easy. Even you know about Groovy and how we developed that for our team, because they literally have no idea what to post. But if you're an active agent, even if you don't have clients, going to open houses, going touring homes, literally everything you do, going to that coffee shop, literally promoting your community, there's so much you could do. Like, content is endless. It's just a matter, are you pulling out your phone to record it and building that stockpile? And then you could throw it over to your VA and say, make content out of this. And they will. Like, it's crazy.
And making the effort to go to the open house, right?
Yeah,
so many people won't even show up to it. It's like, oh, okay, no wonder.
Now, if you have a VA and you got to give them content, you're actually they're showing up. You know,
like, and what's a real problem is that you actually do all this work and now things captured, nobody knows about it, and that one open house you did where you met nobody, but you had it, if you had posted on social media that you were out at this property, imagine the amount of people you would have reached. And it's just a really unfortunate circumstance when people don't think about the missed opportunity, if that makes sense.
Imagine if your open house has nobody show up to it and you recorded the process anyway, you took a great recording of the video, you get a video editing team to make it, now you get 100 views on that property. 100 views. Would you have been thrilled with 100 people showing up to your open house? Probably.
100.
Probably. What if it gets to 1,000 views?
It's all mindset. We had an open house that literally torrential downpour. Nobody showed up for 5 hours. And I'm sitting there, we did a home tour. We did more photos for her, like everything, because it's still content. It went up on our YouTube channel, everything.
Yes.
And most people just sit there and go, oh, poor me, nobody's showing up. But there's so much you can do in this digital space that literally you can turn everything into an opportunity. It's just about that mindset.
Absolutely. And I'm going to wrap this up by saying, and I love that you ended with the mindset. I truly believe that hiring somebody, thinking about your business growing, scaling, it is a mindset. It is an abundance mindset. And if you start to think that way about your business, about anything and everything in your life, I think you're just going to start to attract those things. So, and to actually quote the famous T. Harv Eker, your inner world creates your outer world. So figure out who you are, where you want your business to go. What do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And if this is of interest to you. If you have any questions at all that we have not covered here in our call, leave it in the comment section, folks. If it's something that Jacob or I can't answer, we'll definitely go back to Moose and make sure we get you the right answer. If you want to meet with us, if you want to talk to us about what our experience with Sphere Rocket's like, you know where to find us. All the information in the description below. Click on that link if you want to book a call with Sphere Rocket, meet with them, talk about your business, and trust me, if you don't understand how somebody can help you, I bet you Sphere Rocket can, as Moose has shared the screen and showed you. So that's where I'm going to leave you with. And if you want to partner with us, work with us, if you have any questions at all about how we can help you with your business, book a private one-on-one call with us. Come to Friday Connect. If you go to FridayConnect.net, you'll find all of our future calls. It's a pleasure to have you, Moose. Thank you so much for taking the time, going through our technical difficulties at the beginning, all of your patience, and you are super brilliant. And there's no questions about it why Justin chose you to help him grow this side of business. It makes complete sense. And I'm so glad Jacob and I made a smart move, a slow one, but we're done it. And I'm here with you because we were with lots of other companies. And now I'm really glad that we were with a lot of other companies, because when we met yours, it was love at first sight. So I'm really glad.
It really was. It really was.
Well, guys, thank you so much for having me. It's been great seeing you guys. I hope to continue the relationship as long as possible. If there's any way that I can help, and guys, if there are any agents who are considering a transition, or anyone who's starting to get into real estate, please consider that Tharmila and Jacob reach out to them. Their team, obviously, they invest into resources like Sphere Rocket so that you guys can get virtual assistants. They have so many resources for agents, guys, that they're head over shoulders on what they're doing. So you guys are amazing. I love having you guys as clients.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Means a lot. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.